Welcome to episode 44 of Posture Labs and Alignment Fundamentals. My name is Emma. Thank you so much for joining me on these tutorials. In this episode, we're going to be going over Parighasana, gate pose, and Vira Parighasana, or seated gate pose. There's a few different variations to gate pose, so I'll go over those as well. This is a position done kind of on your knees and one foot. So how I like to get in oftentimes is from a tabletop position. Stacking your shoulders over your wrists. Then I'm actually going to face the camera, stacking your shoulders over your wrists. I'm going to extend my right leg out to the right, pointing the toes forward. So my right toes line up with my left knee more or less. Should be exact, but you can always adjust the pose. So right toes line up with my left knee. I'm going to go ahead and come up to stand on my left knee and my right foot. Reach my arms up and pushing my hips forward. For gate pose, I'll be walking my right hand down my right shin and taking a side bend. As I do this, I don't want that left hip to come back. I'm kind of pushing the left hip forward almost, and ever so slightly pushing my hips to the left, deepening that stretch in the left side body. Soften the left shoulder away from your ear. I like to look under the left tricep. Now, there's a few different variations. What I often teach is a modified side plank. Then your left hand would be in line with your left knee and your right foot. So all those 3 points of contact are in one line. The left fingertips pointing away from you, and now the other arm, my right arm, will be extending. So this is a gate variation. However, when I teach this, I call it modified side plank because I often don't do gate pose right before it. So people might get confused if I just say gate variation because, there could be multiple variations of gate pose. So this is a gate pose variation. You're continuing to push your hips forward. Now you're getting a side body stretch on the other side. Just like you might in Warrior 2, I want you to focus on pushing the outer edge of your right foot down, pushing your hips forward, softening your ribs in, and then maybe looking up towards your right thumb. Perfect. We'll do that on the other side. So back to your tabletop position, left leg extending out to the left. Line your left toes up with your right knee. Come up to stand on your right knee and your left foot. Reaching your arms up, inhale. Walk your left hand down your left leg, side bend. Push your hips forward. Soften your right shoulder. See if you can lean a little bit more. Then as you come up, we'll take that modified side plank or gate variation. Your right hand now goes off to the right. So the right hand, right knee, and left foot are all in one line. Make sure your right fingertips point away from you. And you want your hand far enough away from you that you can feel this nice stretch. Oftentimes I see people plant their right hand really close to their foot, and then they're kind of crunching into that right side body. So you want some good space here so you don't feel like your right rib cage is being compressed. Left arm extend up and over. You should feel a nice big stretch through the outer edge of your left foot, through your left pinky finger. I like palm down or even pinky down so the palm is almost facing back. Outer edge of the left foot nice and heavy. And back to tabletop. So now we'll do a seated gate pose, Vira Parighasana. This I will do I'll start in kind of like a Janu Shirshasana with my right leg extended. So my right leg is extended with my foot flexed. Now my left knee is pointing out to the left. My left knee is going to stay pointing out to the left, but I'm going to flip my left shin behind me. So I'm hugging my left heel towards my butt. At this point, I like to use my left hand, especially the thumb, to kind of move my calf muscle out of the way. And this foot should be pretty close. But I'm not kneeling on my foot. My left sitting bone is still on the mat here. So both sitting bones on the mat. My legs are still at 90 degrees. So that left knee is still pointing in the same direction. It's just the foot that has a different orientation. Now, this is a side bend as well, like gate pose when we walk the right hand down the right shin or the left hand down the left shin. For this, I actually like to kind of turn to the left. So I'm turning over my left leg. I like to bring my right hand to the left side of the waist, like I'm almost wrapping myself up. I'm going to dive my right shoulder on, or preferably inside my right thigh if I have space. Then I'll extend my left arm up and over, maybe grabbing onto my right foot. Now here, the left hip, the left sitting bone really likes to lift, which is why I like to place my right hand at my left hip as kind of a reminder and an assist to help push it down. For me, my actual sitting bone is still off of the mat. So during the pose, it is off the mat, but I'm working towards pushing it down. I'm not just letting it be off the mat and saying, okay, whatever. I'm working towards and thinking about pushing the left sitting bone down towards the mat, and that's gonna give me a little bit more action in the pose. Now, if this is not accessible, I understand a lot of people can't dive their shoulder to or inside. You might start by reaching your right hand towards your right foot and extending your left arm up and over. This is a wonderful place to start. You could even grab a strap and do that if you can't reach your right foot. So right hand towards the right foot, left arm up and over. Once you have space, maybe you place that right hand inside and then go left arm up and over. Eventually, maybe you walk your right hand a little bit more towards the left knee, up and over. Eventually, I like the right hand at the left hip, just so you can feel that like you're trying to help push that left hip, left sitting bone down. The entire time, right foot stays flexed. You want this external rotation through your right leg. Let's do that on the other side. So left leg going out to the left. I'll explain it this side, starting at beginner and moving to more advanced. So left leg extended straight. Your hips are at 90 degrees, but you wanna bring your right foot back towards your butt. Move your right calf muscle out of the way. If this is too much, this is a lot on your knee joint, you do have the option to place the bottom of your right foot at your inner left thigh like we would in Janu Shirshasana. I would actually open up the hips a little bit more if you're gonna do that so you can side bend. But for gate pose, how it should technically be done is with your the top of your shin, the top of your ankle down. But again, if that's too much on your knee joint or your ankle joint, you can keep the bottom of your foot at your inner thigh like you would for Janu. Okay, left leg straight, foot flexed. Now, maybe I'm feeling already quite challenged here. I'm just gonna start by walking my left hand down my left leg like we did in that kneeling gate pose, Parighasana, and reaching my right arm up and over. If this is enough, I'm gonna stay here and breathe. Gradually, I'm gonna start to walk my left hand further down my left leg until I can side bend more. Once I feel pretty confident here, then that's when I move my hand inside my foot. Gradually, I'm walking my hand more over towards my right knee. So once I'm comfortable here, maybe the next time I practice, I go hand inside and side bend. And then maybe the next time I actually plant my hand over towards my right thigh and side bend. That way I can kind of use my tricep to help push my left knee back. Eventually, again, I like to almost even turn to the right, left hand to the waist, kind of diving inside. So almost leaning forward over the right thigh, sweeping inside of the left thigh. That just helps. So the back of my arm now is helping to push my left thigh bone back and keep that external rotation if my toes start to fall inwards. So again, that's left hand to the right waist. I like to hinge forward, sweep, lean over to the left. Now my left shoulder is inside of my left thigh, and my left hand's at my right hip, helping me to pull that right sitting bone down, and my right leg goes up and over. Then I would recommend grabbing the outer edge of the foot if you can. You're turning your chest up towards the ceiling, looking under your tricep. The more you squeeze the left side of your body, the more you lengthen the right side. So think equal but opposite forces. You're not just stretching here, you're also engaging, firming up this extended leg. I think that's kind of the only variations I can think of for gate pose. So again, we had kneeling. We had our traditional kneeling gate pose. We had our gate pose variation, which is a side stretch the other way. Then we have our seated gate pose with the toes pointing back. And we have our seated gate pose variation with the bottom of the foot at the inner thigh. It's really important here to kind of twist the opposite direction. So when we do Janu Shirshasana, we're folding over the extended leg. Here, you're turning to face the bent leg and then diving inside or towards the extended leg. And that's our seated gate pose variation or modification. So we had 4 whole variations in this video. I hope you found some of them helpful and maybe it helped clear up some questions you had about this pose, because you do see a lot of variations. Again, there's probably more that I didn't go over. So just go in with an open mind, especially if you're going to different teachers, different studios. The yoga community everywhere is a little bit different. So just because what I say on here is what I've learned does not mean that's the only correct way. So if you just try to go in with an open mind, if a teacher tells you something differently, there are oftentimes many correct ways to do poses. I hope you learned something from this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you did, and come back next week for another tutorial.